Hello, and welcome to Cube 3 and our first day of E3 media coverage. We've got, well, not exclusive access, but we've got some rather media friendly access, shall we say. So we're going to be bringing you all the stuff from the booths, as much as we can show you in this week before the big event kicks off on the weekend. And today we had the pleasure of talking to Dreamteck, who are a Bulgarian games company. They're a team of 8 people who initially released a game called LifeSlide for the Apple Arcade. So they've been working on this now for 5 years, and 5 years later they are ready to bring this to Steam, and they basically think that they've got a whole new game. We had a good interview with them, which we're going to show you in a little bit. But before we go into it, of course, I'm joined by Sandy, as always.
Hey, how's it going?
And Sandy and I are just going to talk through the initial impressions of E3 before we started. So, Sandy, obviously, we've had a chat about our predictions, rumors, stuff we're excited for. Anything changed? Anything you've seen come up lately?
Oh, there was something today. What was it? Resident Evil 8 DLC. That's another prediction that I'm going to hold on to. I don't think it'll happen, but if it does, I'm looking for another reason to play that game again.
Well, not to give anyone any spoilers, but if there is Resident 8 DLC, then it is going to have to go in a pretty interesting direction, I think.
Unless they just go, here's more mercenaries.
Yeah, maybe just some new modes, but yeah, I'm with you on that. I really enjoyed Resident Evil. Heavily into the Resident Evil games now, due to you. So I'm looking forward to that. I've seen no major news this week. Certainly nothing I can share, but it's certainly shaping up that this, even though we've got the online element and we're not going to have people there, it's going to be really good. And what is great is they've made it so accessible to people like us. So, as well as our staff access that we've got, which we can show you the interview that we're going to show you in a minute. Every person that signs up for the fan sign in is going to get full access to the booths as well. And that'll come for you on the 12th. So we've got a little bit of early access, a little bit of a preview. So stick with us. We'll be streaming every night. I'll be here every night, hopefully joined by some people. But I'm sure you'll see some more of the Cube 3 team as well as hopefully some more developers and some more games. So just before we go into this trailer, we'll show you the trailer at the end. But we've got the interview here from Dreamteck for their game LifeSlide, which is kind of a paper airplane based flyer.
It's looking pretty interesting.
It does look really good. It looks like a lot of fun, and obviously we really appreciate them taking the time to speak to us today. So I'll stop rambling on now, and I'll let you enjoy the interview.
Awesome. So, yeah, this is part of our studio. I'm Mitko, and this is Danny here.
Hello.
We are two of the creators of our game, LifeSlide. And LifeSlide is basically a paper plane adventure through life. That's what we were talking about with Don up until now. So basically, you are a paper plane. You go through a series of challenges. And as you fly further and further, the environment around you gradually changes to reflect the natural progression of life. So for example, in the beginning, there is nothing, and then trees start to pop out. They start to grow around you. As you fly further and further, you get animals, you get more challenges. And we are aiming to create a very seamless and atmospheric experience, something like Flower, but with more challenge to it.
It did
And
seem
yeah,
that kind of inspiration when I saw it.
yeah, yeah. It's something along these lines. And the game is releasing on, I'm sorry, the game is releasing on August 6th on Steam. And after that, we are planning to also port it on Nintendo Switch. We are also planning to release sequential dates where we are going to add multiplayer, like real-time racing multiplayer. But for August 6th, we are also only going to have a story mode, a Zen mode where you fly endlessly. And then we have weekly challenges where people compete on a leaderboard. So, yeah.
And there'll be different types of airplanes, I gather?
Yeah, we have 8 different types of paper planes. 6 of them you can unlock by collecting paper plane parts while playing the story mode. And the last 2 paper planes, they can be unlocked by purchasing them with the in-game currency. The game is absolutely premium. It's not like there are no microtransactions or anything like that. You just gather in-game currency as you fly, and then the last 2 paper planes, they can be unlocked with this in-game currency. We're also working on paper plane appearances, so you will be able to customize how your paper plane looks with different, let's say, skins, I guess. But we are
drawings and types of paper, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but we are very careful with it because we don't want to, introduce that much man-made objects in the game. We try to kind of keep it natural, and we try to detach the whole thing from actually civilization. So as you play the game, you'll notice that we don't have like vehicles, like cars, like planes. We only rely on nature. So for the skins of the paper planes, we are also trying to do that. So we're not using like newspaper paper or something like that. We are trying to kind of, for example, we have tribal motifs, or we have like something like something is spilled over the paper, but it looks like space and stars, stuff like that.
It's sort of like how you've always wanted to design a paper plane, but if you lack those artistic skills.
Yeah. Well, I personally lack a lot of artistic skills, and thank God for art. Yeah.
It sounds really good. Was there any other inspirations behind it? Why you decided to go through that kind of life journey with it?
Yeah, honestly, we didn't get inspired from any particular game, not even Flower. As a matter of fact, when we started first showcasing the game on Reddit, on social media, somebody said, "That looks like Flower." And I was like, "Oh, they mean that it looks like a flower, as in like it's colorful like a flower?" And I didn't know about this game. And then I realized, yeah, there is a game that exists like that. And it's really similar to what we're doing, but not really, because we have a lot of challenge. So our main inspiration here is, it's mostly real life and nature. And first of all, my inspiration is because we're a Bulgarian studio, or based in Bulgaria, Sofia, and we have very, very beautiful nature here. In terms of mountains, we have lakes, we have sea, we have all sorts of this. And I love going into walks in nature, so I get really inspired by that. So we want to kind of translate this inspiration, this feel that the nature here gives us. We want to kind of translate it into a game, into an experience. And another experience for me that I want to translate is, it has nothing to do with flying, but I'm a mountain biker, so I like riding.
Biker as well.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah. I live in Wales, so we've got a lot of access here.
Awesome. Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. I used to do downhill, but now I'm like doing more all mountain and free riding nowadays. I'm afraid to get my arms broken.
Yeah, I was a lot more dangerous in my younger days, I think.
Yeah. Understandable. Yeah. So yeah, I took inspiration from mountain biking, where you jump off kickers, and then when you land them successfully, when you manage your weight forward and back. So this was one of the inspirations as a feel to the game. So we want to kind of translate this into the game mechanics. So we did that, and we also got inspired by proximity paragliding. Oh, nobody from our studio has ever done proximity paragliding or any kind of paragliding. or parachuting or whatever. But we've watched videos on YouTube, and it looks awesome where you fly your paraglider very close to trees and rocks, and you just go down a mountain hill, and it looks so satisfying, so awesome, and without the imminent danger of the wingsuit, where if you one wrong move and you're dead. So we thought, yeah, that's an amazing experience to have, and so that's kind of what we started working from. And then the whole concept of life came, because it was just some sort of an emotion or feeling that we wanted to kind of transmit, and that's how we kind of got around this idea.
So,
How many people are on your team overall?
Danny, you want to speak a little?
Yeah, sure. There's Mitko and another teammate of ours, Sergey, started this whole thing, and I joined like a year later. But currently there is 8 people on our team. We started as 2, then I joined. That's 3, and we grew naturally, basically. So
yeah,
currently 8 people.
Yeah, currently 8. We started as 2 people back in 2016. So there's been like 5 years of development. And the reason it took so long was that because a lot of the time there was just only 2 people, and then there was 3 of us. And then in 2019, Apple came along and offered to have our title released on their upcoming platform, Apple Arcade, which is no longer upcoming. Yeah, and that kind of basically allowed us to grow our team, expand, and actually turn this entire game into something we've always dreamed of doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was actually where my next question was: is how has the game changed since you guys launched it in 2019 on Apple Arcade?
Actually, I can find you some videos on YouTube. While we speak, I'm just gonna go into YouTube and just gonna show you some comparisons, so you can kind of get a better picture of it. But basically, we changed the entire game. We started out with basically a prototype, and then when Apple came along, we were able to create better level design, better graphics, better user experience, better game mechanics. Basically, everything was improved, and it was improved the way we always imagined it. We started out as an ambitious project, but we didn't realize how actually ambitious it was. And yeah. Honest to God, when we started it, I was like, I want to work on a small project that we can finish for 6 months, and I want to ditch it. And then 5 years later, we're still working on it. But I'm just gonna share a quick playlist here. So it's kind of a timeline. I'm gonna share it in chat real quick. How do I do that? Oops, sorry, my phone is ringing. Can we not, please? Okay. So here's a link in the chat. It's a playlist of YouTube videos. The upper ones, the ones at the top, are the latest ones. And if you scroll to the bottom, you can see gameplay from where we started. And it definitely shows. Like if you watch the Steam announcement trailer and then move back to the first public gameplay, you will kind of see exactly how the game evolved and how it changed over the years.
It really has.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the first one here I'm seeing was in 2018.
Yeah.
And from what I've seen of the game on your current page, it's a much more self-contained tunnel, looks like.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
It's much more self-contained in tunnels. I see it breaking out here now a bit, but much so.
We have a lot of branching paths now. We have more sophisticated level design, a lot more sophisticated level design.
I suppose you get that better sense of movement as well in the combined spots. And,
yeah,
exactly like motorbiking, the weaving the trees into that nice wide open space. Yeah,
so we changed a lot in terms of camera behavior, in terms of gameplay. Basically, we've been iterating over and over, and now it's time to stop. Like, it's not perfect, but it's something we are satisfied with, and we feel like it's ready to go out.
Absolutely. And in terms of level design, as I joined the team, I was very novice in design. But as I grew in the team and I understood more of the mechanics, I kind of took over and remade the better part of the game in terms of level design. The whole start of the game, then the middle part, then the late part, in little bits and pieces. And I mainly revised the whole design experience in terms of level design.
So
Yeah.
essentially, this new release is almost a sequel to the original Apple Arcade game.
We'd like to call it a definitive edition.
Yeah.
More like, yeah. And we when we started, the graphics and the level design, it was something that I was doing. So I did all the coding, the design, everything. And obviously, I'm not the saying jack of all trades but master of none. So basically, exactly that. I can do all of the things, but I have no idea how to do them properly, or I have some idea, but I'm not able to express myself that well. So at first, the game was entirely designed by me, with some art done by our art director, Sergey, who is not here today because he's working on the E3 portal as we speak. But it was mostly designed by me. And then as soon as we got a normal, nice team that is able to work professionally on the game, then we slowly started, we created new levels. We made all the levels of the game, which are actually 28 different unique levels. But after that, after we made all the levels, we slowly started to replace old designs made by me with new designs that are actually good.
And I just want to quickly mention that the whole game is a seamless experience from start to finish. You can go through it in a single run, and there's not going to be a loading screen. There's not going to be something to stop you.
That's very cool. It could be quite jarring, couldn't it, with a little challenge board at the end or something. But if you really want that sense of movement and that whole time,
exactly,
you need the full thing.
Yeah.
So, looking at some of the gameplay here, so the base mode for the game is almost a time trial of sorts that you're picking up to extend your time.
Yeah, it is something like a survival run, I'd say. It
makes me think of racing. What I'm thinking of is racing games where you have to hit the checkpoints or get through these to extend your timer.
Yeah, kind of. You are racing against the clock, but you're not super pressed for time. You have some pressure. You have two types of collectibles, time and matter, and they are like you have to keep a good balance between those collectibles. The time is the yellow particles and the matter is the blue ones. And then you will notice that as you play the game, they are very rarely set on one single path. They are always branching. They're mostly branching. So you have to constantly make the choice whether you want to collect matter or you want to collect time. And you have to make this choice based on what you have at the moment. Like if you have enough time, you would collect matter. And matter is basically the in-game currency, where you can use to purchase upgrades, planes, or appearances and things like that. So if you only go for matter, you're going to run out of time. But if you only go for time, you will make it further and further. But at some point, the game is going to become harder and harder for you. So you will have to go back and start collecting matter to upgrade. So it's always a good idea to keep them balanced.
So you mentioned the focus on the natural world, which I've seen, but I'm also seeing like castles and almost fairy tale creations like that. What is the idea there? Is it kind of trying to, beyond the natural, try to show the fantastical?
Yeah, so the castle things, if you look at the Apple Arcade version, which is nothing like the one we are releasing for Steam, but anyways, if you look at it, you will see that we have castles that are more man-made. And these castles here in this version, they look more like made from the nature. You will see that they actually start growing from trees, and the trees kind of shape into these castles and houses, etc. So the idea here is this chapter. So it's 4 levels of this. So you have this magical kingdom, then you have like a magical wonderland, then you have something like a playground that is a terrain that's shaped like a playground, and then you have a Candyland level, more like fruit level, where everything is like giant fruits. So this section of the game kind of represents the child's mind and the child's imagination and how they see the world as something very magical, and being able to kind of see things that adults cannot see in everyday regular things.
So you're talking about 4 levels for world. So there's 7 worlds in the game?
Yeah, there are 7 worlds. Yeah. And we also use this number 7 for a lot of things. Like you have 7 upgrade steps, you have 7 planes to unlock, things like that. We just kind of like to keep it the same. So yeah.
So how is there an in-game explanation for how the world came to be, or any sort of unlockables that you discover about that sort of thing?
Can you? I'm not sure I understand.
Well, you're talking about how the different this setting it sort of is. Is there any sort of unlockables or hidden things that you can find that help it explain how however this world is came to be, or what's that?
Yeah, well, we have some we have various collectibles. Like we have power-ups. We have a couple of power-ups which are very key. We have the will power-up. You will find this one first in the game, which is basically a boost. It kind of pushes you forward. Then you will stumble upon the knowledge power-up. This is a more unique power-up. It represents a key. We kind of got the idea from the Egyptian ankh, which is basically a key. So it kind of looks like the Egyptian ankh. So when you collect this key, there are different objects that have a specific interface on them. It's like a yellow rhombus, but we are gonna change this to a hexagon. Never mind. This is the game is still work in progress until August 6th, but there is an interface, and if you have this key collected and you approach an interface like that, the interface is gonna light up, and as soon as it lights up, you can use the key. It's called knowledge. You can use the knowledge key to open this interface or to interact with it. So, for example, at the beginning, you're gonna learn how to open gates using this key. So there are gates with the interface on it, and as soon as you collect knowledge, then you can unlock the gates. But further down the game, you can use knowledge for different things. Like, for example, you're going to make things grow, or you can shatter things and destroy them. And basically, this is the idea of it.
So it's all going to lead to different paths, different options.
Exactly.
And so you don't want to rush through it, like you said. You want to be moving between the power-ups, kind of balancing your decisions all the way through.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of replay value there as well.
We do have different pathways, so you can experience the game several times, and it's not going to be the same. We also are aware that people are supposed to replay these levels as they play for the first time, because you're going to fail and then you're going to go back and then you're going to fail again. And that's why we kind of try to make them branch as much as possible and make them interesting, so that you can always find new routes. So the last power-up is the one called Leap. And Leap is basically, it makes you jump. So you can use this to jump over pits, or if you kind of, because Wheel, the booster power-up is gonna push you forward. And this is really easy. Like if you don't have enough speed, you can use it, and then you have all of a sudden you have some speed. But Lift, you can also use it to kind of get out of sticky situations like that. If you don't have enough speed, then you can use your leap power up to kind of go high, and then you can dive down. And diving down is going to kind of give you an additional speed, and then you can continue flying.
Okay. So when are you thinking you guys are going to have the multiplayer for it? And what is your vision for that?
Yeah, so the multiplayer is something we're super excited. Actually, we also already have it for the Apple version, which is upcoming. But for Steam, we're not going to have multiplayer on release date. multiplayer is going to be a race. So you race on a finite level. The level is going to be generated the same for everyone. And then you can race with up to 8 or 16 players. We're going to figure out if we can get more players to join the whole thing. And basically, yeah, people are going to be able to race one with each other. And we've already implemented that. It's kind of clunky, but it's super fun to play. And one different mechanic that we have added to the multiplayer game is as people fly down, they leave out trails behind them. And if other players follow the trails, they move faster. So you can kind of catch up with people.
Kind of like drift behind them.
Yeah, it's like rubber banding. Yeah,
slipstream.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
But this is all coming in a later update. I think we will be able to implement this for the Nintendo release, which is going to be next year. And as we release for the Nintendo Switch, we would also push this update with multiplayer. But it really depends on how the game does on Steam now. Yeah.
Well, hopefully it'll put it sounds perfect for the Switch as well.
Hopefully, yeah, because we've been working my vision was to get this game on Switch exactly. So yeah.
For the Switch, is there going to be an attempt to try and have mobile controls with the Joy-Con?
Yeah, probably, but it really depends. If we are to implement split screen multiplayer, which I'm not sure if we're gonna go there, we might implement the mobile controls. Like you mean where you take out the Joy-Cons and then you flip them to the side, right?
Where you can just basically move around with your hands and move the Joy-Con. So rather than
maybe use them
like motion controls. Yeah, motion controls is something we want to do for the Switch. It's gonna be we've already implemented them for the Apple Arcade version, and in my opinion, it's pretty nice and satisfying. People don't like to play with accelerometers that much, so they prefer touch. But I think for Switch, we should definitely go for that. So yeah.
I mean, even if not everybody likes it, it is something neat.
That's
there. So. What was the inspiration for the name? LifeSlide is a bit of a different name, especially for when you're flying about.
Yeah, well, the concept of the game is it kind of came out of nowhere. So the name also came out of nowhere. We felt like we needed to invent a different word for it. Like so it's like life and a slide. And if you take a look at how the game progresses, you'll see that it actually it looks like the generation of the levels, everything of the levels. It looks like a big slide that constantly goes down. It goes downhill and down and down and down, and it constantly evolves. So this was kind of the idea behind it, because you go down a life slide. And it's not life glide because the entire world but the entire world kind of represents like a physical slide. So yeah.
All right.
And on top of that, you don't have an engine, so you must fly down in order to progress.
Are there updrafts you can catch, or
Danny, please explain.
Yes, updrafts are, I think, in the game. I use it to guide the player to desirable places or where I want him to go, and either to make it easy to get out of a sticky situation, or if it's already in a good place, a draft's gonna either lead him to a big reward or a challenging section with a big reward there. So basically, we use them to either get out of a sticky situation or lead the player to a sticky situation. So you can question where are you going at the time of taking the draft.
Cool.
And we have two types of draft. One's like a stream of air that catches you and propels you forward and like slingshots you forward. The other type is it's pointed up, so you get a draft up, like lifts you up, and you get pretty high with those, so you can use that to go down and really gather a lot of momentum, or get out to a lot higher places than you would usually be able to go.
And then on one level there is lava, which if you fly over, there
Yeah.
is hot air that is going to also lift
Just
you.
ride the thermals.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's very cool. Cool. That's all I need. Thanks so much for.
Do you
taking
guys
the
have
time to
a
speak to us.
demo version of the PC?
You're welcome,
build?
Luke. Yeah, we are going to have a demo, but we are waiting for June 12th, and we are going to release the demo on Steam on June 12th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Again, thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you as well. It was a
you.
pleasure.
Cool.
Was-
Take care.
I'll
Take care.
have a
everybody.
good show, and I'll.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
What email should I send you guys something to?
Enjoy trip.
Big thank you from Dreamteck there for showing us their new game LifeSlide. What do you think, Sandy? Excited for that?
I am excited indeed. It sounds rather fun.
It does. It looks like a lot of fun, and they seem like they spent a lot of time getting that feeling of movement, which is very exciting. He's also a mountain biker, which I can relate to. So if he can get that sense of speed in the game that he was aiming for, as well as multiple paths and replayability, it's going to be really, really good.
And also, I mean, everyone loves paper airplanes, right? That's universal. So like making a game based around flinging one down a big hill.
Well, the dream is that you threw a paper airplane and you could navigate it so well. It could go through the woods and into fields instead of just across your office. So, yeah, it's really exciting.
I hope it has crumple physics, where you bounce off a wall and it just kind of bends and it flies differently. That'd be fun.
If it's not, there's certainly something we can put forward to them, I think.
For the sequel.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for watching. That is day 1 of E3. Join us again tomorrow at 9 for some more news. Hopefully some more previews. Sandy, thanks for joining me as always.
Thanks for having me.
Hopefully we'll see you soon. I'm here. I'll be here all week. And we will leave you with the new trailer for LifeSlide, out August the 6th on Steam. And hopefully coming next year on Nintendo Switch.
Excellent. Enjoy.
Take care.